I don't know about you, but I have really come to enjoy acronyms. In fact, I use them very proudly when I text. BTW, by the way, those letters just flow now from my fingertips. Julie's saying, oh yeah? And so that makes me feel hip. Periodically, I try to coax our daughter Julie to teach me really current ones, acronyms, ones that are in, but she tells me that in isn't in anymore. And furthermore, that I do not need to update my vocabulary. So there it is. Today's sermon is entitled KTCA. What do those letters stand for? You probably don't know because I made it up. But throughout the message, I will be using the phrase from which those letters are derived. And so when you hear the words with the acronym KTCA, just raise your hand, and that way I will know that you are listening. This is why we need Caitlin. Years ago, a parishioner had just graduated from college, and she was looking for a job. And she knew that she wanted to go into sales. But instead of turning to the paper's want ads, she asked herself one question. Of everything I own, what am I most excited by? And she knew the answer, hands down. Her Honda. She absolutely loved her car. And so she went to the local dealer, explaining to him the rationale behind her job search, and voila, it worked. She got a job. So I asked myself the same question she asked. What do I love more than anything else? What am I most excited by? And in all honesty, I would have to say, the church. I love the church. And I'm going to try to explain some of the reasons why. It started when I was little. My mother was always a dyed-in-the-wool back pew attendee. She'd give any of you a run for your money back there. But I never liked it sitting way back there. I always liked to know what was going on up front. So I joined the front pew people, most of them hard of hearing. My unofficial pew buddy, as you remember my telling you before, was Mr. Boyle, and every so often he would slip me a nickel. And I'd gesture, making sure that he didn't mean for me to put it in my pocket, but instead in the offering plate. I needed to make sure. But he'd smile and he'd point to me, and I was 5 cents richer. But I was much, much richer than that. Because even though I can't recall any actual conversations the two of us had, I distinctly remember feeling that he valued me. He let me know that he thought I would turn out all right. And what a gift that was. Now that our confirmation class has been confirmed, I have to tell you in full honesty that what they seem to appreciate and value most about that whole process is choosing a mentor. Choosing an adult whom they know will follow them, be with them along the road, and what exchanges they have. The first time they meet, the confirmands cook for them. The last time, the mentors cook for the confirmands. Always after that, they break into discussions, and I'm always wishing I could hear every single one of them, because there has been such a bond that's created, such a thirst, such a hunger. One of the tenets I remember from Bob and Dottie King's organization, Thrive, is the critical importance of an affirming relationship with an adult who is outside the family. Not the grandparents, not the aunts, not the uncles, not the cousins. Yes, those are important, but crucial, an affirming relationship with an adult outside the family. And where better than church can anyone find someone like that? A wise and caring role model for a child. In fact, church is one of the few intergenerational institutions in existence where you can find toddlers and senior citizens sitting side by side for the same reason. Keep the church alive. Ooh! You're good. You're good. Some of you are looking around. Why'd people just raise their hands? As I grew older, another thing that I loved about the church was that it always gave me an opportunity to work with others for a common goal. Were I at home or were I at school, my focus was on getting my own act together. At home, clean my room? That didn't go over so well, wasn't much interested. But take me to an all-church cleanup day, and I would have the time of my life. I loved working hard together. There's nothing like it. I love the story of the man who runs his car into a ditch. He gets stuck, and for the life of him, he can't get out. So he asks a local farmer for help. The farmer says, I have a mule who can do the job. He's blind, but he's strong. The farmer hooks him up to the car, snaps his reins, and calls out, Come on, Sam. You can do it, Shep. Let's go, Sparky. And the car is good to go. The man thanks the farmer profusely, but then asks, Excuse me, sir, but why does your mule have 3 different names? He doesn't, responded the farmer. But if Sparky thought he were the only one pulling, your car wouldn't have budged an inch. I learned early on that there is real joy in working as hard as you can as one, particularly if it's for something and someone so much greater than we ourselves. Keep the church alive. Were I to try to answer that question as an adult, why do you love the church? I think I'd respond with 3 reasons. Number 1, because it challenges me to look within. It prompts me to look around, and it helps me to look up, as nothing else does. First, looking within. It was one of you here in worship now who stated so simply yet eloquently, I come to church to express my gratitude to God, to say thank you, and to tell him I'm sorry when I've done something wrong. Every week I come before God with at least something that I wish I had done differently, something I wish I had said differently. But always, instead of leaving this place guilt-ridden and ashamed, I feel like I do when I'm driving with my GPS and my guide in this beautiful British accent says, recalculating. And God is directing me here in this place how to best get back on track. Some people say that they don't go to church because they don't want to feel as if they're hypocrites. But I never understood that. That's like saying that I go to the doctor's office to show everyone what great shape I'm in. Jesus said those who are well have no need of a physician, but those who are sick. I come to church because I know that I need Christ as my physician. I need him for my soul every week. And that's why I am here. I remember once hearing William Sloane Coffin saying that a student had accused him of using religion as a crutch, to which Coffin responded, "You are darn right, only stronger. And who do you know who does not walk with a limp?" The message of the church is that its arms are open to everyone. And despite our inadequacies, we are here to learn for ourselves what can happen when grace becomes real. Keep the church alive. The church helps me to look around. It challenges me to look past myself to the needs of others, and I thank God for that. It reminds me of the story of the very irate parishioner who received his newsletter from the church. He read it, he ripped it in two, and then he fired off a very angry email to his pastor. And he said, "Wherever I turn, the church wants me to give of my time, give of my money, and I'm sick of it." The message I get from your church can be summarized in that one word. It's give, 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 give. To which the pastor responded, "Thank you for the best definition of the purpose of the church that I've ever seen." When anyone joins the church, you promise 4 things. You promise to give to the church your prayers, your presence, your gifts, and your service. And yes, that is a lot of giving. But think about what your life would be like without any of those things. Imagine never saying a prayer or knowing that there was such a thing. Imagine never going to worship or never giving the church any money for any cause or never doing a single thing to serve it. Church for me is what gives life meaning. Does anyone regret that investment? When you give to the church, to each other, to the needs of the global community, you give of the very best that is within you. Is there anything better than wanting to give? And that is when, through Christ, amazing things happen. Third and finally, the church enables me to look up. I feel as Oliver Wendell Holmes did when he wrote, "There is a little plant called reverence in the corner of my soul's garden, which I love to have watered once a week." People say, "I can be reverent on a golf course. I don't need church." But for me, there's something wonderful to be said for what can happen when you designate a time and a place specifically, especially to meet with God. I remember once being crestfallen after a date when the boy I went out with said something like, "That was fun. I hope I see you around sometime." And I'm thinking, see me around sometime? When? Let's get out the calendar if you really want to see me. Why don't we settle that now? Why leave it up to chance? When we're intentional about carving out time to meet with God, it's like saying, "God, your presence is important to me. I will be here at 10 o'clock Sunday morning, and I hope that you will meet me." God is not going to stand you up either. When you come to church, you can experience what it is to become a part of someone who is so much larger than life. You intentionally, deliberately expose your soul to the highest being in existence, the highest being the mind can comprehend. And before God's awesome presence, you say, "Lord, make me a servant. Mold my life, even my life, whatever I have made of it so far, so that Christ can still live within me. Give me the courage to speak his truth. Give me the love to live with his compassion. Give me his forgiveness to grant grace to those around me." And when you do that, over time, the church becomes for you, for each one of you, the place that Paul described. It becomes a place where you will be given a spirit of wisdom. It becomes a place where you do know the hope to which you are called. And it becomes a place where you can discover for yourselves the immeasurable greatness of his power. KTCA.